Two straight white males talking about gun control. What is it, 22nd? 23rd? What is today?
No, because my rent's due. It's the 27th. My rent's due
Good
very soon.
Lord. I just time traveled for like a week. Okay. All right, so here's the thing. Biden's pick for head of the ATF, which is Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms Bureau.
Why are those all?
It may be for the stereotype of a gun owner. They're going to have a big chaw.
That's what it is.
They're going to have a big chaw of tobacco. They're going to be drunk, and they're just going to be firing shots off randomly in the air. I think that's why they're all lumped together. I'm not sure, but
Joe Biden.
Or maybe it's because they think they're all addictive. You know, I mean, alcohol is an addictive substance. So is tobacco. And then once you start shooting a gun, that's it. You never stop. You never stop. I myself am a gun owner. I'm a concealed carry permit holder, and I've been concealed and carry for almost a decade now, and no one's been hurt or injured. I guess I'm a modern miracle.
My man.
So anyways, the new thing is his pick for the head of the Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms Bureau.
Yes.
When he was questioned about assault rifles, he first deflected. He's like, it's not for me to decide what the definition of an assault weapon is, but he's for the ban of all assault weapons.
And then he stopped talking,
Yeah.
and then he had to get his thoughts together. And
he compared gun owners to Tiger King. I don't know the show Tiger King.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, Joe Exotic.
Carol Baskins.
Let's see. He eventually said that his definition of an assault weapon is any semi-automatic rifle capable of accepting a detachable magazine above the caliber of .22. So if you're not familiar with guns, a .22 round is like a varmint gun. It's like if you're going to kill a squirrel.
That's your handgun?
No, well, they do make .22 caliber handguns, but typically...
Is the 22 basically your...
No, so that's a shotgun.
Not the shotgun.
Dude, I did not know how non-gun versed you are. I feel like pulling out a bunch of them right here and just showing them off. I mean, you're allowed to do that. I could look pretty crazy.
I went to a shooting range and it was dope, but other than that, I do own a gun because of a not good situation. I should probably explain
because of where
that.
you live.
No, because okay, once again, not a joke. It was, people know my story, like suicidal, so that's how I own a gun.
Ow.
Didn't act on it.
Ow.
I don't know how to make that funny.
Gosh, forget it. You just make it dark. It is what it is.
It is.
All right, so I grew up around guns my whole life.
Yeah.
My dad was the kind of guy that he would have a gun hidden above every counter, like in his house. Like random cabinets would have a gun hidden above it or whatever. We never played with guns, never got injured with guns, never had friends coming over who wanted to play with guns. My kids, 7, 5, and 16 months old, they never touch daddy's gun. Mm-hmm. We go out to the property and we shoot. My 7-year-old is a deadeye, dude. He can hit a he can hit a hickory nut from 30 yards, no problem. The kid's a deadeye. They have no problem wanting to play with guns. They know when they're dangerous and when they're not. And they're educated on guns. They are. To me, that's proper gun control. Is you take a position of educating people on and say, hey, this can be dangerous. This is when it's dangerous. Blah 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 blah. That's proper gun control. People aren't going to get hurt if they can know and respect a weapon. That's just that. In my opinion, that's proper gun control. So
dumb question that we know the answer to, but for the audience, why are people so scared of guns? Why do we need gun control?
It's capable of so much destruction so fast. They say a semi-automatic weapon is capable of so much destruction so fast. But here's some of the facts. All right. First off, there's this big myth running around that people are ordering these fully automatic assault rifles and just killing people in the streets with them. No, the most life loss is coming by handguns, and the life loss is coming in areas with the most strict gun laws. This is fact. You can look this up. They're cities that are entrenched in Democrat leadership for 20, 30 plus years. I mean, it's truth. I'm not Republican, Democrat, I don't care who you are, look it up and you will not find this false. The cities that are entrenched in Democrat leadership have the strictest gun laws and the most gun crime and gun violence. What does that say to me? Well, it means that
we don't have a gun control problem.
People who obey the laws about guns are also probably going to obey the laws on not killing somebody.
Yeah, I think it's a family problem. And I'm not saying the mom and the dad have to be together. I'm saying the mom and the dad need to be together and the relationship has to be good with the kids.
Yeah. ATF nominee, appointee, or however you want to say it,
yes,
that Biden has, David Chipman, he said that everything that can take like a large magazine, every semi-automatic rifle that can take a large magazine that's above the caliber of .22. So I'm going to show some of these. So
what's the
I've got here. Oh, dropped it.
Uh-oh.
I'm a proud gun owner, and I appreciate the sport of, I do hunt, but that's not the original purpose for the Second Amendment, and we'll get to that. So here I have, this is not a .22. This is a .223 caliber. This is military, essentially like the standard military issue is a .223 or a .556 round.
Eesh.
So the bullet portion of this is just this portion right here, the tip. This small, there we go.
Is the other thing the explosion?
This is all the powder that propels the bullet. This is gonna, this is allowing, this right here is a cap that creates a spark that ignites the powder that's in this area here.
That's the part that falls out of the gun.
Yeah, and this is the casing, which comes out of the gun, and that is where all the powder and essentially the combustion that causes this, the explosion that causes that bullet to propel forward. So this is a standard military issue. And it's small. Obviously, people are like, "Oh, that's kind of small." Yeah, the bullet port. When I tell you that's the portion, that's the part that's your bullet. It's pretty small.
How fast do they go?
I do not know that part.
Very fast.
Pretty fast. I have here also some .22. So these are the ones that he says is acceptable. Now, .22s are varmint guns. They're like if you're going to kill some rabbits, you can put down a man with a .22. You very well can. Any well-placed bullet, I mean, it's a projectile.
That's a .22?
This is still the .223.
Okay.
I'm going to pull out here a .22. This is a .22 round.
Okay.
The bullet portion of the .22 is that.
Wow.
This is the powder right here.
Yeah.
See? All right, so look at that. That's the difference in terms of the bullet.
It's politics, man.
There's not that much difference between the bullet, but there is a significant difference in the powder. So your penetration capabilities of this type of bullet are more because it's got more powder, it's a higher velocity, that kind of thing. But they still make bullets like this that are semi-hollow, hollow point, that the penetration of a hollow point is less because it's going to flatten out when it hits because it's hollow. So it flattens out and it's not going to travel as far. So here's the problem. The original purpose of the Second Amendment was not to allow us the opportunity to continue to hunt game. I'll show you here, just for the record, this is the bullet that everybody is cool with. This is the type of bullet that everybody thinks you should have. This is a shotgun shell. This is a shotgun shell.
Eesh.
A 3.5 Magnum shotgun shell. There are in this particular round, there are 3 pellets, three big balls essentially that are in here, and then the powder is all back here. And those 3 balls are launched out. It's a 3-shot, 3.5 Magnum.
So that's why. That's violent. Never mind.
It's what?
No, I was saying like when you shoot someone in a video game with a shotgun, their face blows up.
Oh yeah, at close range. These projectiles are going to lose velocity quicker. So shotguns are more of a close range type spread, and the bullet's going to spread out farther the farther away it gets. They're going to lose velocity, unlike these rifle shells or rifle bullets that are going to go out and maintain velocity for longer. This is what everybody says you should have. Joe Biden and everybody else says, just buy a shotgun. Buy a shotgun. Why do you need a semi-automatic rifle? Shotguns still kill a person.
That sounds way more terrifying.
If you want to do violence, you will find a way to do it. That's a fact.
That's why it's a home family psychology problem.
In my opinion, again, the reason why you don't have as much gun violence in places where you're allowed to carry in a home is because criminals, for the most part, I find criminals not to be the bravest of people. They are people who do not want confrontation. They go into schools, places where they assume nobody else is going to be able to fight back. Nobody else is going to be able to stop them from doing what they want to do. These criminals are not brave individuals. They are cowards who are taking guns to places and committing gun crime and gun violence in places where law-abiding citizens are not allowed to have guns. That's why the places with the strictest gun laws have the most gun violence. In Kentucky, where I live, when you realize in a neighborhood like mine, chances are that 50% of the people in here have concealed carry.
Yeah.
You're probably less likely to bust in their home at night and try and steal their goods or mess with their children.
Dude, how many schools are there in America? How many do you think? Roughly 50 states. How many schools per state?
Dude, there's 3 schools in my county, and there's 100 counties in Kentucky.
I am so surprised there aren't more school shootings because of the access that people have to guns. So I think when these big school shootings happen, it's the worst thing ever. But also, I'm just like, man, there's a lot of crazy kids around here. Like,
well, that's the argument against gun control, is that people that have a mind to do evil aren't going to abide by your gun control laws.
No.
And are going to do it regardless. The person that took the van and drove it through all those people, he had a mind to do evil. So what are you going to do? Ban cars? Say you can't drive? You're going to do that. I mean, if they have a mind to do evil, the bomb that went off in Nashville in the RV, the destruction was massive. If they have a mind to do evil, what are you going to do? Ban all of the little components that made that bomb? You can't. And this, like I said, this is going to make me sound like a crazy gun advocate.
Okay.
School shootings. I 100% believe that if it was publicly known that 50% of the teachers in that school were concealed carry holders trained with their guns, and you didn't know which ones, guaranteed you'd see a dramatic drop in school shootings. Because if the kids knew, if I go to school with a gun, there's a chance my teacher's just going to end it like that, I think you'd see way less school shootings. You would see an increase in shootings in other places where they knew they were not going to encounter resistance. These people want situations where they do not encounter resistance. Period. That's the facts. And does it make me say, people are like, how dare you think you're going to decrease criminality by putting armed guards in your school? That you're going to put more guns in the school? That's going to make more gun crime. I'm like, well, tell that to every public official who has an armed guard around them. The increase of guns around them make them feel safe, make them feel secure.
Joe Biden.
Tell that to Joe Biden with his armed squad of Secret Service. All right? Guaranteed they all got weapons. And he feels safe because they're with him. These people that are crying out for more gun control are the same people that depend on armed individuals to keep them safe. And that to me is kind of the backwards logic that I can't fathom. And the purpose, the other issue is the Second Amendment was never to allow me to continue to hunt. That wasn't the goal. The Second Amendment was to allow us as a nation, as people, the freedom to always be able to arm ourselves to defend ourselves from tyrannical rule. That's why it was there. So we could have a well-armed, well-trained militia that if tyrannical rule got in power, we could stop them.
Dude, we have so many people in the world now. It's over 7 billion. Like I said, I'm just surprised that there isn't more violence. Mm-hmm. And I'd like to think that when these awful, terrible things happen, I'm just so surprised. Jordan Peterson says this. I'm so surprised there's not more of it going on.
Yeah.
The fact that he was saying they were in an event and everybody can sit down and just listen to him, and it's not mad chaos. He says that's a miracle. So, like, I understand that, like, yeah, you want to save lives, but man, fix the freaking home. That kid, his mom and dad aren't raising him. That's why he's so angry.
The issue, the logic that I can't get behind is that the guns are evil. Like, if we get rid of the guns, less bad things.
It's because liberals think people are mostly good.
It's the guns are not evil. They're amoral objects. I use the brick analogy.
Yeah.
The same brick that you can use to bash somebody over the head or to throw through a window can be used to build a hospital. A brick does not care how you use it. It's amoral. It's in the same fashion.
You pick up the brick. The brick's like, whoa, bro.
No, don't do that. I'm just going to disintegrate. I will never hit some. Yeah, guns. Money is the same way. Money is amoral. You can use it. You can use money to build hospitals. You can use it to purchase sex slaves. Money is amoral. It's not evil or good innately. Neither are guns. The internet is not evil or good innately. It is amoral. You can use it to look at as much porn as you want and be awful and evil and disgusting if you want, and use the dark web to do awful, evil, disgusting things. You can use it for identity, all this hoopla, or you can use it to communicate and connect with people and to minister to people, to encourage people. It's a powerful tool. A gun is a powerful tool. It can be used to put food on the table. It can be used to defend life, or it can be used to take it. A gun is not an evil thing. It is not innately evil, period. And gun owners are not innately evil people. The problem is we got this assumption that people are good and we give them these evil things and it makes them evil. No. What's making people turn to evil? What's making that? I mean, the Sunday school thing is, well, sin, whatever. Sin. But like what is happening culturally and in the home?
And this is my theme over and over and over with these liberal policies. You are fixing and going after problem 57 in the train that needs to start with problem number 1. You got to fix all the family stuff first, because all these kids come from crazy families. The parents might be married and rich like the Columbine people. Yeah. If you had any psychologist that probably went into that family a year before that shooting happened, they would have been like, dude, your kids are nuts.
Here's a thought. In these Democrat-led cities that are entrenched in Democrat leadership, that have the strictest gun laws and have had the strictest gun laws for years, where they have the most gun crime, why don't they lax the gun laws, just get rid of a lot of these gun laws, and try treating the other stuff and see how that affects gun crime?
This won't happen, but take Cardi B off the radio and replace her with an actual female icon and watch what starts to happen. That will never happen.
Yeah. Less Cardi B, more Aretha Franklin.
And I think what happens is the 5-year-old now grows up with some type of some type of a role model, rather than Cardi B, and she has a kid in her 20s, and that kid, when he's 15 and 16, doesn't go shoot up a school because he's been raised in the right way. Granted, it's just, dude, this is a family thing. This is a family thing.
What's the Christian response to what's the Jesus response to two things? One, what's the Jesus response to a culture that is convinced that people are typically innately good, and we put these evil things in their hands like guns, and it makes them do evil? What's the Christian response to that? What I consider is a backwards logic, which keeps us from treating the symptoms at the home. The more you think guns are evil, and the less you think there's anything that needs to be done with the home life, the less likely you are to come to a legit solution. So what's the Christian response? What do we do in that scenario?
Go and make disciples.
But how do you keep from sounding judgmental? There's got to be some grace and truth,
I just think you do ministry, and you do it as graciously as you can. That doesn't mean going to different places and saying, "Hey, turn and burn, baby, ha ha ha."
Hey, you don't love. Yeah, how do you? Hey, you don't love your kids enough. That's why they're killing people at school.
No,
jerks.
you put on you make a great song that's on the radio that changes someone's life. You go join a church and you throw up social media stuff that somebody sees and they're in a bad spot and they come on Sunday. You be smart about salvation and ministry.
Instead of just, here's the deal. I'm tired of playing blame culture. Instead of just blaming parents, do we need to assume some responsibility and be like, hey, as a Christian community, as churches, do we need to start creating more spaces, more accepting spaces for kids to come in, to feel welcome, to have community, to feel loved? Do we need to be doing more of that?
Yes. I think we need more Christians, and this could sound judgmental, but whatever, that are going to be like, I am going to make my life about Jesus and ministry, as opposed to, all right, I'm going to go work my job and I'll drop the kids off on Wednesday and yeah, I'll see you guys on Sunday. Cool. You need, okay, if you got a church of 1,000 people, how many people, how many in that church are actually like full on really doing ministry at a capacity?
Yeah.
Probably not a lot.
Do you think it's something that we
need a Jesus movement?
Well, and a lot of these kids, let's assume some responsibility. A lot of these kids may be coming from a Christian background. So what do we do in our churches, in the epicenters of our faith? What do we do?
Well,
what kind of education? I think maybe it starts with having leadership teams that work with the parents and say, hey, let's start working in our home life and let's start.
An important distinction, I think, is that it's, while yes, it might come from a Christian background, like dad working all hours of whatever, then goes home and turns on Fox News, and his kids has no relationship with his kids, but they go to church on Wednesday and Sunday. That's not Christian. That's like to our detriment, Republican, Christian, whatever, Americanized,
blonde hair, blue-eyed,
Jesus.
Buttermilk baby Jesus.
Yes, that is what that is, and that is
toting Republican voting. And
that's what all the liberals that would hate this show think we are.
Yeah.
But that is what we are so against, is that kind of thing. So, I think, it comes into leadership of saying, like, we need to do actual Jesus ministry. Actual Jesus ministry.
And to put it in practical things, so in churches, you probably need to have some classes that aren't just, I may get flack for this in the Christian community. Have adult classes in your church that aren't just teaching Bible
theology,
but instead are teaching, hey, this is the practical ways to start sowing into our kids.
Here's how to parent your child the way Jesus would. Not this, and dude, this is an American thing, and this could be controversial to a lot of people.
Yeah.
I think Americans worship the Bible and not necessarily Jesus.
Dude, 100%.
This obsession with we have to know everything, but we don't tell anybody about Jesus.
Dude, it's like
that goes hand in hand, dude. I think
take the counsel of people who are engaged in your culture, who are pillars for God, who are striving to get towards God, who are working for Christianity. Take these guys, these men and women of the faith, and say, hey, we need to lead a course that addresses this issue right now with our families. And the issue right now is like, how do we at least keep our kids, our generation, from feeling underloved, underappreciated, from feeling like they have no community, from feeling like they have no place in their family and in their friends, so that they start looking for these other places of acceptance. Nihilism is not a good place to be, because nihilism gets so close to hopelessness. You begin to lose hope in anything. When you think that life is meaningless, which is what nihilism is, it's all vanity. When you begin to think that, you begin to lose any hope.
Empathy. And
you lose empathy. Because if somebody's going through a hard circumstance,
and then you become a Karen.
You're like, oh, and then you could become a Karen. And then every day can be an outburst.
Do you think a Karen, or the male Karen, is sitting at home being like, man, how do I show Jesus to the world? No, she's waking up thinking, granted, I'm a fan of Donald Trump. She's thinking, Donald Trump, these stupid liberals, and we got to make America great again. That's what Karen's thinking.
That's what, yes.
So
Karens are left and right.
Yes.
The right side, the right extreme Karen is like, dumb liberals are stupid. It's always dumb liberal kids who are shooting people up, which is not necessarily true. It's like, but they're not. I don't think that they're at home thinking, how much responsibility can me and my church assume for the culture that is creating gun violence and mass school shootings? And it's not a culture that's embraced guns. Guns were more available in the past than they are today. There was a time at one point where you could order guns in the mail. Now you can't. They don't get shipped directly to your home, which is a misconception. If you order a gun through the mail or online, it goes to an FFL, a firearms dealership, and you got to pick it up there, and you got to have a background check. Like, this is all typical process. It's harder to get a gun now than it was back in the 40s and 30s and all that stuff.
My favorite quote, and maybe the only good quote from the entire Hobbit trilogy that was a disaster. Galadriel goes to Gandalf, and she says, "Why Bilbo Baggins?" And he says, "I don't know. Saruman," who's another wizard, Saruman thinks it's only like the strong that can do stuff, but he says, but that's not what I found. What I found is it's the small things, the everyday, ordinary goodness of people that keeps the darkness at bay."
Dude, so as a church community, if you're a believer and you're watching this, I would encourage you. I don't think more gun control is the answer.
Be better, jerk.
But instead of getting on your soapbox and being like, these dang liberals are taking away our
Joe
guns.
Biden.
Instead of doing that, go to your church leadership and say, hey,
do better.
How about
no?
Better?
I'm sorry.
No, build back better. No, and go to your church leadership and say, hey, what kind of classes and what kind of practical examples can we set for the adults in our church who are raising kids, who are trying to deal with these issues, and what kind of practical classes can we put in motion to teach them how to better be patient, understanding, and careful with the emotional state and the feelings and the self-esteem of their kids. What can we do? And maybe if nothing else happens, maybe we can slow this, or maybe we can make positive adjustments for the future generation.
If you have a problem with gun violence, develop a relationship with your kids.
Yeah.
You Republican at home who's like, they're trying to take away my guns, and your kid's upstairs playing video games for 10 hours a day.
Yep.
Here's how you fix the problem. I'm telling you, man, I'm literally only using examples from my childhood.
You're not wrong. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell, all that stuff. Please tell us what you think about this stuff. And keep being awesome, because that's how he made you.